to continue to celebrate the life of our Emeritus Archbishop. And as you heard from my homily, that he is indeed a pioneer. And, he scored so many firsts, the first indigenous, so to speak, Catholic priest from the north, Archbishop, so many things. And being a Catholic priest, a Catholic bishop, he worked so hard, as I try to put in my homily, to work for peace, for justice. Justice, which is that which makes society, livable, if you like. Make people able to live together without problems, And he spent a lot of time doing that through our justice, development, and peace, which he saw, established and grew. And therefore, so now that he has gone, my belief is that the good values, the values he stood for, namely the value of justice, working for peace, equality, that enable people to be able to live together in a multicultural, multi-religious society like ours, is something that I think we can take forward. Now that he's no more, we behind, and like I did mention, of course, everybody knows that Kaduna is infamous for crises, all kinds, political crisis, ethnic crisis, so-called religious crisis, and and so I do believe that these things, we can bring them to an end if we have the will. And the only way we can bring this to an end is for justice to reign, that people should be treated equally, not according to where they come from, not according to their religion, not according to their social background, that if we are citizens, we are all treated equally. Unfortunately, especially in northern Nigeria, and which I know he fought so hard for, I know that in many parts of the north, especially in our region here in the northwest, many of our Christian communities are not able to have that kind of space to practice a religion the way they would, namely that if you have to practice your religion freely, then it means that you have a right to acquire land anywhere in this country, to be able to build your church, follow the normal protocols, and to be able to do it. This is lacking, and this, as Bishop Jatau fought for very vigorously, without without using any force. He knew it was the right thing to do, and he stood for it. And therefore, I think that this is a legacy that we can carry forward, namely to continue to fight for equality, namely to continue to fight for justice, if we truly want this country to live in peace. See where we are today. Almost every part of this country that's troubled today. And it's simply because the basic things that should be there in our country are not there. And so I think this is part of the thing that I try to emphasize, bringing from the life of Archbishop Peter Yariok Jatau. The way forward is what I said. I said, and then we've come a long way with the crisis in southern Kaduna, and I think I'm sure we've lost count of how many crises now that are there, and therefore I said, if we really want peace, everybody must shift ground. Namely, there must be a paradigm shift. And what I mean by paradigm shift is that, we have ideas in our own heads that we don't want to change them. And therefore, we'll continue to stereotype people. Human beings are dynamic. Somebody who is a crook yesterday could have changed, And therefore, we cannot continue to use the old structures that replace people and expect different results. And so, if we are determined to have peace, I did mention that at the end of the day, we're anywhere in the world where there are conflicts, where there are wars, at the end of the day, people end up at with dialogue, discussing. And therefore, dialogue means that, I listen to you, you listen to me, and, there will be certain things. There's nothing written in gold. That we shift their position, I shift my position, as long as it's not nothing to do with doctrine, and therefore there is a meeting ground, and that meeting ground is what we are looking for, and there cannot be a meeting ground if those involved do not shift positions, and therefore I feel, and like I did mention, good ideas begin with one person, and therefore, and I know there are people of goodwill in Kaduna State, in southern Kaduna, that they will, be able to, if they really desire peace, they will do whatever it takes to be able to work for it. Baba did that, and I know what he went through, and therefore, this is a challenge for us. And so, if we're able to really show the desire for peace and work for it, I am sure definitely we'll be able to have peace in southern Kaduna.
Everything about Archbishop Peter Jatau is open to everybody to see. There's a lot to learn from, a lot to reflect on, enough to reflect on, enough to copy. Because when you project somebody as an icon, as an ancestor, then definitely he bears the name, especially in African context. He is a source, of course, of inspiration, not only to the clergy, but to everyone. He impacted so much on everybody, practically everybody in northern Nigeria. And so we see him not just as a father, but as an ancestor to copy from, to imitate from, and to emulate. And that's why we're working towards immortalizing him. And so if there's any advice, then of course the advice is we shouldn't joke with the legacy that this icon left behind, because he lived a good life. He lived an exemplary life. He lived a holy life. He was indeed a man of God.
Humility is a virtue. It is a gift from God. And a life of simplicity is a life which considers others first before me. And therefore, since the life of every one of us is one of service to humanity, the virtue of humility is one that we should always pray for and look forward to. Whatever we do in this world, we know that it has an impact on the lives of others. If we do good, it will have an impact on the life of others. If we embark upon wickedness and criminality, it will impact negatively on the lives of others. If you are happy that God makes you godlike, that He created you in His image and likeness, and whatever you do, you want to exemplify what God is in your life, it is indeed a commendable virtue that everybody should seek to emulate. And I pray and hope that we'll all pray and develop this quality of life, which is of humility, one of selfless service, because we consider others first before us. And I think that is what the Christian life is, one of generous service to humanity, because humanity is made in the image and the likeness of God. So whatever we'll do to touch the lives of people positively, to impact upon people positively, that is a virtue to be prayed for. And it generates a sense of fulfillment, inner joy, inner satisfaction, which knows no bounds. Well, for the people of southern Kaduna, What is this word peace? Is that inner attribute of God in the life of every human being. And so, the best advice will be, if you don't want your peace to be disturbed, do the much you can not to disturb the peace of another person. Whatever you wish that people will do to you to make you happy, to make you comfortable, to make you feel more human, to help you to develop, that you need to do for other people also. And so, peace, that is what God is. And that is what Jesus Christ is, the Prince of Peace. So, if Christ, the Prince of Peace, lived a peaceful life, loved peace itself, and brought peace to humanity, we who are his followers, notwithstanding our different denominations, differences in modes of worship and in expression of faith, but who also call upon God, that will try to imbibe and emulate that attribute of God, which is peace. And so Jesus, the Prince of Peace, if he is alive in my heart and in your heart, and you embrace that which he is in your life, in my life, in your heart, and in my heart, then we should be able to exemplify that. And that is the appeal I wish to make to everybody in Southern Kaduna, whatever we can do to ensure that despite the restiveness, despite the challenges, that we remain peace-loving people, but at the same time, that does not take away the right for everybody to be able to defend himself, because that is a natural entitlement. If we all respect ourselves, then the need for this natural entitlement may not even arise. But where we don't respect ourselves, or where we do not respect life, its value and its sanctity, then the need for this natural entitlement will definitely arise. So I appeal to the people of Southern Kaduna. I know that we have peaceful people, despite the challenges. There is so much that we have been denied by powers that be, yet we remain happy people. Yet even with our happiness, the oppressor is never happy. So, God, who is peace, should always remain the source of our inner peace, and we should be able to exemplify them in what we do. Thank you.